let's get to trading. So right, I'm just going to hide the chat for a bit because obviously I want to. I'm just going to focus on what we're looking at here. So let's just have a look at what happened. We're going to delete this here. Delete obviously this, and then we can delete this here as well. So dollar has pushed up. We managed, just goes to show how weak, euro and pound ended up. But because even with this push up here, AUD obviously still was overpowering them. So we've obviously had an early push up here. Um, so let's obviously we'll wait and see how this all kind of pans out. I'm interested to see, what is going to happen round here. News-wise, like always, we don't really have anything. We obviously had New York manufacturing data, which has come in, well, very, very good. But, is this going to be enough to push everything on? I'm not 100% sure. So I will be monitoring, and I recommend everyone monitors this area here. All right. Again, like earlier, we just want to know, the DXY needs to become your best friend. Yeah. Because, it needs to, you obviously, need to understand that every single pair revolves around the dollar. And I'll just do a brief kind of explanation, and then obviously we'll look into hopping into some trades. But obviously, even for example, GBP NZD is based up of GBP USD and NZD USD, and it's the price difference between them. So everything in forex revolves around the US dollar, so that's why I'd speak about it, so much. And that's obviously why it's pretty important. Now, let's obviously grade our pairs because everything's moving, and obviously I know that someone's asked me to do a video on this. The only reason I use yen is because it's very, very quick. I've got all my pairs here together, and I'm grading them off the percentage change here compared to yen. So, for example, we've still got, same as this morning, AUD at the top. We've then got GBP. We've then got NZD. We would then have Swiss. We were actually above Swiss. We've got yen. So we've got a little bit of a turnaround. Swiss, euro, and then right at the bottom, we've obviously got USD and CAD. Yeah. All right. Which we can agree with that because, if we're looking at this, USD CAD is the only pair where, the US dollar is up. Yeah. Everyone can agree that everything else is down. All right. So these are our pairs here, and obviously, if we're looking at it, the easiest, way to kind of, sum it up. This is what I tend to. I don't know why it's drawn it like that. Let's go on to a 30-minute and see if it draws it a bit. There we go. Right. So we've got AUD, GBP, NZD, and Euro, obviously USD and CAD. So let's just have a look at some of these pairs here. All right, USD starting to strengthen a bit, but obviously we know we've got AUD, NZD, and GBP at the top. I quite like GBP for some strange reason, but obviously we do have this level here. All right, we're currently in the London, obviously opening range here. Let's just zoom out and just have a little look, what's happening here. We've technically made a new high. Are we going to continue? There's a bit of support here where we're at right now. So, let's obviously wait and see what kind of happens here in regards to this opening range. So I'm going to put that one on the back burner. Got USD CAD, AUD USD as well. Very, very, similar trading at the bottom. I do think on all of these there is room for them to trade a bit higher up, and obviously NZD2. You can see they all these three look very, very similar. So let's just be aware of that. Gold, like what did we mention this morning? What area? And look what ended up happening. Huge, fake out here. couldn't break. Yes, we've had a small move to the upside. I still think this Asian high is gonna provide us with, if I get rid of this and this here and this here, the Asian high is trending right where we need it to, right now. So this would be a great opportunity if it holds to obviously take this a little bit higher. Potentially, I still think we can carry on trending here, but something like this, that would be obviously a high risk gold trade here, but we need to monitor to see how well this holds. But it's looking very, very nice. This I am going to post this in the group, but obviously, I always press the wrong one. But obviously, we need to remember. There we go. We need to remember that if this holds, and I will write that in the group, if this holds, and I'm going to put these trades in the right group this time as opposed to in the old one. But then we can capitalize on it. But I always put this up as high risk. We obviously don't trade gold on the copper here. Our obviously goal is to look after um after the accounts needs to hold Asian high. All right. Oh, I've just done it wrong. Hang on a minute, guys. There we go. Let's delete this, delete, put this in here, and then we'll wait and see. All right, but this, potential has got good potential here to obviously hold and then continue. Yes, we're technically on a 5 minute time frame trending, but no one can argue with the overall trend of gold right now. Yen pairs, we obviously called this one earlier but didn't take it. GBP. I mean, pound looks like it's getting a bit weaker overall. AUD is one that, you're not going to go far wrong with this. I mean, pound AUD pretty much the same trade as this morning. This would be another one here where, we could potentially, if this breaks, then we want to see a nice, obviously, break, retest, and we can enter this one again. All right, so that would be a nice one there as well. So GBP AUD. Here we go. Right. I'm going to put this here. So GBP AUD. So we obviously know that it's, stronger. Um, I also think Euro too. I mean, I like both these. We obviously carrying on trending. We could obviously use our Fibonacci. Before we use the Fibonacci, let's just explain obviously why you potentially sometimes don't need it. If I got rid of this, we've obviously made this low. Well, where would we be looking for price to come into? It would be this area here. Yeah, does everyone agree? We've obviously got this area. Now we're obviously then looking at Fibonacci for a continuation. It would be somewhere around here. So if I got rid of this opening range here, we would argue that this would be where we would want to take a sell trade from, somewhere around here for a continuation to the downside. Yeah. All right. So let's obviously wait and see how this one, maps out. We also need to be aware of the dollar. We're currently rejecting, could come back into this area here. But let's wait and see. Let's just delete these. So we've got some uh, CAD there as well. But there's nothing really. Potentially GBP CAD. Pound is dropping. Pound is dropping. So pound 17%. Yeah, it's still there or thereabouts, isn't it? Let's have a look at CAD because I can't see why we're going to be in this place here. Let's go up. Bit of an incision there, 1 hour. I mean, we've got this level here, 30-minute. Technically trending to the upside, you could argue. If we take this away and you were to mark So you'd mark that as a high, that on there, equal new high. Where would we be looking to buy from? Would be somewhere around here. And then obviously if you wanted to, as a bit of an extra confluence, you could put the Fibonacci on. I mean, it's not the cleanest, I'm not going to lie, but it does come up around that area. So I think we could look into this as a potential. GBP is pretty strong, right? And obviously CAD is pretty weak. So I don't see why, if this area here holds, why we wouldn't continue to the upside here. So let's wait and see. Let's wait and see how this one pans out. But I would be looking for something like this. I'd want to see this movement happen on the 15 minute and then see this move here. So I'm going to post this as an example, but obviously only if this holds. All right, only if this level holds, but it's looking very, very weak. But it could be a bit of fake out. So GBP CAD buy. I'll just put needs to hold. There we go. Needs to hold this area. Well, once this breaks, that trade is not valid at all. Euro's starting to strengthen, which could be another one here in regards to. But if well, when once we test everything though, it's very very weak altogether. CAD. It's the only one which is down. Obviously, we've now risen above NZD. Euro has. Hmm. Boom, 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 boom. I mean, GBP's going. Euro. Let's just have one more look at the dollar. Yeah, I think Euro CAD as well because I like the look of it. Ideally, I want it to break out of this. We are trending. We've obviously held up nicely. I think it's just waiting for, I would have expected this move from here. However, I do like this. Obviously, ideally, I'd like to break out of here. Let's go for about 50 pips. And then we can put like a nice, not like a nice tight stop, but something about here. So about 19 pips here. I think 50. Here we go. I'd like to see something like this happen here. We break out, show some strength, and then have a nice continued one. So I'm going to put that in as well. I would like a dollar pair just to keep it in the um, mix, if I'm honest. Euro's got potential. It's climbing nicely. Pound could be a complete fake out here, and I don't know why it's weak. So we're going to have to look into this a little bit further. But obviously, it's moved quite a lot. So we're obviously trading outside of Asia. USD CAD, AUD. But obviously, that would be if dollar was to continue, melting. We've got a nice channel here as well forming on the US dollar. Look at that. Boom, boom, boom. But it doesn't really mean anything. I think you know what, if we're gonna back against the dollar, it has to be AUD. It's one or the other. We're gonna go for 50 pips, so it's one or the other. Let's go for 60, but I just don't know if it can move that much. That's my only issue here. Or we go for euro, which is obviously already starting to move. If we went for euro, we're breaking above here, we'd be looking, yeah. I think AUD is going to be the one. So th this is one that I'm going to go in for as well. AUD. I'm actually going to enter this. I'm actually going to enter this right now. There we go. Perfect. Right, so this is one here. So I'm going to post this. I'm probably going to move stops to 20 pip. Oh, move stops to 20 pips. So I think that'll give us a nice bit of leg room here. And then let's wait and see how these pan out. I mean, we're going strongest against the second weakest here. You know, if you think about how much US dollar has, risen, and it's not really affected AUD USD. So let's also have a look at gold. So gold, look at that. Just want to, monitor. This is what I mean about waiting. All right, this is very, very important here. One positive for the dollar. We've got, stock market. You got to remember things like this. This is why I hate trading gold, yeah, because you could have it, right, but even if you got had this trade here marked out, yeah, say you had a nice one to two, 1 to 3, your stops wouldn't be more than 100 pips, right? You've got the direction right, you've got everything right. However, it's just wiped you out completely. So that's obviously one thing to be aware of. So let's wait and see. Let's just have a little look at this. This is probably going to be in a bit of drawdown as well. Oh, no, it's not. That's what we like to see. Right. So I'm just going to add the stop in 64909. There we go. So let's wait and see how we get on. Right, we've got a few messages here. Let's have a look. Right. Have you entered sell on prior to levels you marked out for the price react off? What's that for? Gem, hi Dan. When grading pairs, how did you figure where JPPY fitted in? Okay, so basically with this, all right, obviously we've only got two pairs where JPY is up, yeah? All right, so your bottom pair, well, both of them equally now would be USD and CAD. If everything else is up, then obviously that's where yen would slot in. But you've got a bit be aware because then there obviously are some differences here. So yeah, GBP JPY. I'll go through that one in a minute. Costin, I hate gold. Hi Dan, you entered sell on Euro AUD prior to the levels you marked out to react off. Okay, let's have a look at Euro AUD. I- I've not entered it yet, by the way, but yeah, we're obviously just waiting here. I prefer probably GBP AUD, but obviously gold needs to pump for obviously AUD to have some continued strength here. Let's go to GBP JPY. I mean, this is a little bit messy, but um, yeah, they just don't just looking at it as overall trend. I mean, this is only the third minute. We're obviously a bit indecisive here. What would put me off this is obviously this level here. Yes, if this held, brilliant. You'd obviously want to continue it, but obviously, there would also be reason. We've obviously made a new high here, so there would be reason for us to take it potentially back down into this area for a continued move if trend is going to continue. So I think this is the key area, and this is, to be honest, breaking down trading in a very, very easy kind of manner. Is you just want to, whatever pair you're trading, look for the closest place where you think, right, you know what, if price breaks this, it could continue. All right, just like we're checking the dollar, just like we're checking, you know, what was the other one? Euro CAD, we're obviously waiting for this to break to show us, where we're actually heading here. GBP CAD, we're looking for this area to hold over the 15 minute. I'd want to see one or two candles and then I'd want this move, you know? There's a lot more support here. As you can see, if I was to draw a line under the support, you just want to make it easy. Yeah. Just want to try and make it as easy as possible. AUD, USD, starting to move the way that we want it to. Yeah. Because we already know that it's stronger. So we've obviously got no arguments there. Um, you entered sell on London. Just purely you've obviously got a like I've explained here on AUD USD, right? We're targeting the strongest asset against the weakest asset. So odds on, we're going to be heading in the right direction unless there is a swing in, strength and money flows. So, you obviously have to look into every kind of reason why. I think Euro AD. I think this was London. I can't remember, but we obviously entered just off London this morning. Where were we here? It was about eight. Yeah, we've obviously entered off the back of it and obviously caught this nice move here. So yeah. Um, have I not recorded this? No, yeah, I have recorded it. Sorry. Right, so let's obviously hold it off here. Like I said, strength, right? You want these moves to happen. Gold. Now I would be looking, right, you know what? If this breaks, it's going to go. We've obviously had our fake out, or whatever they want to call it, our liquidity grab. If this continues and breaks above, we should see some movement to the upside. However, have a look for the dollar. We want this to happen here. We want it to come back into this area here. All right, we want it to break out of this channel. And then these pairs here will continue to grow stronger. The other one would be Swiss. That will start to strengthen, but obviously we're not going to be looking at those. You can't look at everything. All right. I always, the more I'm speaking to you guys, if you want to start trading on your own and you want to be profitable, I would honestly, and I know it sounds very, very boring, but try and focus on one trade a day. All right, or if you really, really want to, split your accounts up. All right, so if you have got your main account, right, to be proud of, yeah. This one you do one times trade per day, you know, correct risk, yeah, everything right. B, this is your account here, which you want to grow, you want to enjoy, you're proud of it, you're showing it off, all right? And then you've got your called, let's call it fun account, yeah, right? Because we can all get addicted to trading, all right? This one you can do whatever you want, all right? Whatever you want. My only rules normally are withdraw daily, right? Only deposit once a week, all right? And this one here is your gold scalping, your crazy trades, just go for it. All right, but make sure you're obviously withdrawing daily, and obviously make sure that these trades, even if you blow it, they don't creep into to this one. Keep this one your proud one, and I promise you, if you do struggle with over trading, it'll really, really help you. Yeah. All right. So right, we're gonna hold it off here. Let me do a video before everyone goes. Get your thumbs ready. and then obviously we could do the video, and then yeah, we'll obviously appreciate you all. Thank you. And then obviously we can then right, start to obviously hop on some good trades. So yeah, let's have a good one. I hope everyone has a great afternoon, and yeah, we'll obviously let's try and get some profits out again. Have a good one, guys.